Hey everybody, Ian Campbell here. I'm CEO of Mission Suite, coming today with my sweet Mission Suite swag here. This has become one of my favorite hats, and since it's Saturday and I'm here recording videos, I figured I would show it off for you all here today. I hope you're doing well. I hope that this series here, this Real Talk series, has been valuable for you, has been productive in some way. Maybe you've come away with some interesting tidbits or nuggets that you can implement into your life and your business. This is actually going to be my the last one in the series of Real Talk, of this series of Real Talk. I'm sure that I'll do more in the future, but this is going to be the last one here in the month of August, right? And so, as you probably know by now, I do these kind of month-long series, and then I determine what these things are going to be. And when I decided that I was going to do this kind of Real Talk thing, it occurred to me that the produced kind of typical style, that well-scripted style that accompanies most of my videos, probably not going to work well. It's probably not the right format anyway for this particular style of conversation, because my goal here is just to kind of relay some of the things that I've dealt with in running my own business, if for no other reason than the fact that maybe you'll know that somebody else is going through it all too, right? Because these are things that we all deal with, and there are the ups, there's downs, there's insides and outs and sideways and all the things, right? I mean, all these things that you never thought you feel inside of one day. And so the high highs and the joy and the excitement and the lows and how am I ever going to do this again? All those things are so common, and I feel like they're not talked about enough. And so that's been the purpose of this series. If you haven't seen some of these videos, go back, check out this is video number 5 in August. This is a 5 Tuesday month. So this is the 5th one. So go back and check out some of the other videos as well, where I talk about, again, some of the struggles that I've had running my business, and some of the reasons that I do it, and kind of everything in between. So it's been a lot of fun for me. It's been cathartic for me, if nothing else. But again, I hope you got something out of it. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the lessons that I've learned from starting my business and from running my business and building a successful business, and honestly, and building some failed businesses as well, right? I've had both. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen businesses grow and succeed, I've seen businesses crash and burn. So through all of that, I've learned quite a few lessons, and so I thought that I would kind of dive into this and kind of talk a little bit more about it. So if you haven't yet, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you're notified when we post new videos, so that you see what we're doing. We post videos every Tuesday, and so even if you don't hit the bell and you just feel like coming to check out our channel every Tuesday, we'll be here for you. So with that, again, let's dive into this. Let's dive into some of these things that I have learned in the course of running my business. So I actually have a few notes here that I want to, just to make sure that I dive into all the things that I want to touch on here today for you. But first of all, one of the big things that I've learned, one of the big lessons that I learned, probably later than I should have, and certainly later than I wish that I had, is to make sure that you personally have your personal finances protected, right? That you are, even if you're not taking a salary, understand what your savings account looks like, and know how long of a runway you have to get this business launched, right? Or make sure that you're taking a salary, make sure that you're making money, right? Even if you're going out for venture funding, for private funding, if you're going out for these things, nobody wants a business owner that's living in their car, right? Nobody wants to invest in a CEO that's living in their car because they've put all of their money into the business. And I get that there's this concept of, investors want to see my commitment to my company. And yes, they do, absolutely. But it doesn't mean that you should be living on the street to get it off the ground, right? So make sure that you're protected, because again, there's more businesses fail than succeed, right? And if we're just being completely frank, more businesses fail than succeed. And so it's important to make sure that you personally don't fail because your business failed, right? Again, you don't want to go back to living in your parents' basement. I can almost promise you that. You don't want to go back to, you don't want to live in your car. Well, actually, van life is a big thing these days, but outside of that, you don't want to be living in your car. You don't want to be doing these things. So make sure that you protect yourself financially, right? Make sure that at least you have your runway and you put up boundaries around that, right? So that, because one of the things that I've learned as a part of this is that your business will eat up anything that you give it access to, right? It'll ultimately, if you're diligent with it, if you're able to kind of clear the runway, if you're able to get it off the ground, it'll also feed you till the cows come home, right? I mean, you can find a lot of success there, but especially in the early days, your business will eat up anything that you give it access to. So make sure that you set boundaries around your money, so that you're able to pay rent, if nothing else, right? Or pay your mortgage, or feed your kids, whatever the case may be, right? I mean, there's only so much ramen that you can eat on a regular basis until it starts to get to a point where it gets to you a little bit. So that's number one, is make sure that you're protecting your personal finances. Make sure that you have your own set that you have your own set kitty, your own set nest egg that you can work from. The second thing here is to remember that there's always going to be something else to do. Right, and I mentioned this for a couple reasons, and so because two things that I've seen time and time again with startup founders, with early stage business owners, with growing business owners, is that their relationships suffer and their mental health suffers, and they spend so much time focusing in on their business that they don't pay attention to the burnout that they're dealing with. They don't pay attention to the fact that their wife or their kids are getting more and more angry with them because they're never home, right? They don't pay attention to the fact that, little Johnny is getting frustrated because daddy's never home to put me down to bed, right? Those types of things. So make sure that and again, this goes back to the idea of protecting and setting up boundaries for yourself, but set those boundaries as well. Right? Figure out what you need for two purposes, right? For number one, for your relationships, so that your friendships don't suffer, so that your marital or romantic relationships or family relationships don't suffer, and so that your mental health doesn't suffer. Well, as best as you can, right? Because again, there's always going to be something else to do, and the point that I'm trying to make here is that we all know that vacations are restorative. That taking time off is necessary to kind of refresh your mind and refresh your soul and your spirit and refresh your relationships and spend time with the people who are around you. And so often I see time and time again founders and business owners saying, well, I'll take a break after this is done, right? I'll take a break when I'm done, when I get this to the finish line, right? The problem with that is that there's always going to be something next. You just launched a product, fantastic. Now you got to market it, right? You got your marketing campaign set up, fantastic. Now you got to figure out your sales process to convert those leads, right? You got that done. Now there's something else to do, right? And then all of a sudden, oh wait, now let's launch. We got to launch this product. We got to develop this product. Okay, well, and it just kind of goes in this big cycle, right? And so remembering that, keeping that in mind, that there is always going to be something else to do. There's always going to be something next, because again, as business owners, we're constantly thinking about the ways that we can improve on our business. So there's always going to be something that you want to be doing. But if you don't stop to take a break, then you're going to break, and your relationships are going to break. I can't count the number of founders that I've met who are divorced now because their wife got fed up or their husband got fed up and left them and took the kids, and now they live in a one-bedroom apartment that they can hardly afford for $600. So those types of things. So, and not to mention the fact that they're kind of spinning out mentally as well. And I mean, honestly, I've been here too. I've been in a position where my wife has had to sit me down and say, Listen, I'm worried about your mental health. I'm worried that you are in this constant depression and you're not pulling out of it and whatnot, right? I mean, I've seen it personally, I mean, when my wife and I first got married, our relationship suffered a little bit because I was constantly working, right? Because again, I liked working until midnight at the time. I would work until I was ready to pass out, and then I'd wake up at 6 o'clock, do it all over again, right? And it was good, and I felt like it was good for me. It's not good for anybody. That is, I can tell you, definitively that is not good for anybody. But I liked it. I thought that it was something that I wanted to do, so I just kept doing it. But my relationship suffered as a result, and it wasn't until we went on a cruise where I didn't really have access to the internet that I was able to kind of pull back and say, oh wait, no, look, we're having a better time now than we were before, and I can breathe easier, right? And my mind's not spinning around, and I'm feeling happier and all those things, right? Look at me, I'm restored. It's amazing, right? You don't realize it until you start doing it, and then the problem with that typically is that we dive right back into it. And so, but figuring out how to kind of restore ourselves and take a break and find that time to build in a break, because your business is not just going to give it to you, right? There's never going to be an appropriate time to just take a break, because even if you go through slow seasons, internal projects are going to have the potential to pick up. And then if you go through, so there's always going to be, again, the point being that there's always going to be something else to do. So you have to find time, and you have to set boundaries around that and be diligent about that. It's insanely important. Next thing that I learned here is the importance of building a network. And I mean, if you've seen any of my videos, you've probably heard me talk about this any number of times. But having a network around you, a strong network around you, that is, first of all, it can be hugely profitable, right? I mean, you can leverage that network to find new business and to get people to continue to send you leads and to help you find new clients and whatnot. It can be a fantastic thing. But beyond that, and this kind of, again, circles back to, you'll find that a lot of these topics kind of all connect together. This circles back to that last one where, your network can help you figure out where your boundaries should be. They can hold you accountable to actually taking breaks. They can hold you accountable to making sure that, listen, how long is left on your runway, right? I mean, you don't have to tell me what your bank account looks like, but at the very least, you and I talked about this before, right? Those things are really important, because that network that you build around you, assuming it's a trusted assuming it's a trusted network, that network that you've built around you can save you, can keep you going, it can keep you motivated, and it can keep you from burnout. It can keep you from dealing with some of these dangers that we've talked about. So make sure that you have that network around you. Make sure that you're able to find people that you can trust and that you can rely on to leverage that, because it's going to be important. And finally, the last lesson that I've learned is that no matter how smart you think you are, there's always somebody smarter. No matter how successful you've been, there's always someone who's been more successful. So find an advisor. Find somebody that's done this before. Find someone that's been there before. Find someone that's dealt with the issues that you're dealing with right now, that's done it before. And work with them. And again, you have to. It needs to be a trusted relationship, but find those people, because they're going to be able to guide you through a lot of these challenges. They're going to be able to kind of help you figure out, okay, so from here I have to go to there, I have to go to there, I have to go to there, and these are the pitfalls that I have to watch out for along the way, right? These are the things that I have to pay attention to. These are the signs from that I might not be seeing within my family that are going to tell me that they're getting frustrated and it's time for me to take a break. These are the signs that that my business is in need of more capital than I can give it, and I need to figure out how to make that happen. Right. So, but find an advisor, whether it's a coach, a consultant, whatever it is. Right. I recommend against making that advisor somebody in your family, right? So because your parents, your spouse, your husband, your wife, your brother, sister, whatever, those folks, they're not going to see what you see, and they're not going to see it the same way. So it doesn't matter if your dad built a successful business and is, and you're trying to replicate everything that he did, whatever, he's still going to look at you as a son, right? Your wife is always going to look at you as her husband first, hopefully. But those, so I tend to advise against ending up in those types of relationships, just because they can be a bit less productive, because everything's being filtered through a different lens. Whereas if you work with, whether it's a peer group of other founders or business owners, or maybe it's a business, again, a business coach or some sort of a consultant, finding somebody that's been there before, finding someone that's done this before is going to be really important, because they'll be able to say, oh, you know what? Done it, been there, done that. Here's how to get out of it, right? There's a great old story that I think I stole from the TV show The West Wing, but that's talk about a guy who's walking down the street, falls in a hole. Right, a doctor comes by, writes him a prescription, throws it down the hole, walks away. Priest walks by, writes out a prayer, throws it in the hole, walks away. The guy's friend comes by, and the guy, he's like, "Hey Joe, I'm stuck down here. Can you help me out?" And the guy jumps down in the hole with him. First guy goes, "What are you, nuts? Now we're both stuck down here." Second guy goes, "Yeah, but I've been down here before and I know the way out." Right? So find those people. Develop relationships with those people. And whatever that's going to look like for you, that's going to be your decision. That's going to be between you and them. But find those people and create those relationships, because they can be absolutely invaluable. So that's it. That's kind of my list that I wanted to kind of touch on today. And again, I'm sure that if I sat down with a drink around a campfire and started having more conversations about this, I would be able to come up with countless other lessons that running businesses have taught me. But those are the top 4 that really, really make an impact, and that I really wish that I had learned a lot earlier than I did. So with that, I'm going to say thanks so much for watching the video. Again, I hope that you've enjoyed this series. This is the last of the Real Talk series, so if you haven't checked them out yet, go back. There's 4 other videos in this series that you can check out, all around running businesses and whatnot. And so while you're at it, while you're here, rather, check out, there's some videos here on the screen, so you can check those out too. Again, make sure to subscribe, give us a like, give us a share to help us with the YouTube algorithm, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.